Welcome, fellow board game soloists, to another unboxing on Top 5 Solo Games. Today we are going to unbox Marvel United, classic game from CMON, put out by Spin Master. Why are we doing this? Because it's sealed, and I plan on opening it this weekend. If you watched my video about the games that I plan on taking on vacation, this is one of my favorite this is my favorite family weight game, and it's one of my favorites to take on vacation. You can play it with anybody. It's always thrilling. And so what I did was I bought, my collection is big. Maybe I'll throw a picture of it up here. I have a lot of, almost all season one, a good amount of season two, and I have season 3 coming. And so I flat stored everything. I took everything out of their individual boxes, and they just take up one Kallax cube, all condensed. And I don't keep things in the back form. I like in the separate boxes. I like to see everything and be able to grab from everything. Now, when season 3 comes in, am I going to be able to do that anymore? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be possible anymore. It's definitely going to fill more than one Kallax, I'll tell you that. But anyway, the point is that because I tossed all that stuff, it made it very difficult to travel with Marvel United to vacation spots. And so when I saw this little set for $9 on Amazon this past holiday season, I immediately thought, oh wow, this is a great way to get some that I will leave packaged up, that I can leave with the vac form plastic in, so it's nice and easy to transport. And is it the most interesting stuff? No, because this is Marvel United's season 1, and it's not even, I think that most of the interesting stuff in that season happened in the like stretch goals and the expansions. But the good thing is that that makes it easy for even kids to understand. You don't have to worry about when this card is face up in the timeline or any of that sort of stuff. This is kind of pretty straightforward. So let's see what I got. This is like a double box. You'll see it's extra thick, and inside of it we have a few things. Like I said, this costs $9. It is an unbelievable deal. We got Doctor Strange. This little piece of cardboard that holds on to him. Oh my goodness gracious, this is really wedged in here. Okay, there we go. Maybe when I take off the shrink wrap, it'll make enough room that it can slide in and out of there more easily. Got Enter the Spider-Verse, a bunch of Spider-Mens, and the Green Goblin. Now that, if I remember correctly, the Green Goblin's actually kind of a toughie. And then we have the Marvel United core set. And it looks like we're going to get some glare, and I'm not sure how. I think that's coming off of a skylight, so honestly there's like nothing to be done about it. Okay, well, we'll open up this little dude first, I guess. I'm going to try to do better about making sure this focuses for you guys. For anyone who is interested in the Marvel United unboxing, honestly, it's for me, it's just the chance to have an excuse to just talk to you all about, whatever. Not a formal review, although, well, I mean, usually it won't be games that I've played before. I've played this game many, many, many times. And just have a little chat. See, this is my favorite unboxing knife. It's like razor freaking thin. It's absolutely razor thin and sharp. And one cool thing about it is it's a Leatherman, and it doesn't have much to it, but it's got pliers and a knife blade. And I find that those are the two things that are really hard to do with your hands that you have to do on a regular basis. So it's one of my favorites. It was my everyday carry for a long time, and then I started working from home. Okay, he seems to open on the side. I'm going to tell you what, these sorts of things, it's fine for this, but when it comes to like card games, these drive me crazy. Can't remember what this style is called, but my Regicide is like this, and I wish that I had realized and had gotten this new one, because the new printing has the like a flip lid that doesn't get all bent up the very first time you open it. Okay, so with Doctor Strange, we get him on his little, they're in this little tiny back form, and his cards. Let's check out the mini first. I love, I would have never been a big fan of chibi anything, but I really like these. And I think that they're a little bit different style than most chibi. The artist definitely has his own art style. I think some of the poses have gotten more dynamic to the point where they're actually, so in, they kind of redid some characters in season 3 from season 1, like Captain America with a much more dynamic pose. But I think this is a nice one. It's not wild, but he's got the little magic in the hands, so that's cool. Okay, we can check out his cards real quick. Now they're either heroes or they are villains. It was in Marvel United. I'm gonna stab myself right in the finger on camera. It was in Marvel United season 2 where they started making those purplish minis that had both types of cards. Hoping that this camera mount system worked out. Once again, I mounted it somewhere else, and hopefully this is the last place where it needs to go. I think it's going to be good. I just have to make sure that I put it where the table can't bump it, especially when I'm doing violent movements because I can't open up the freaking pack of cards. Okay. Sorry you had to hear that. So one of the complaints early on was that the characters were too similar. They do have different balances of the 3 things that they can do, and then they have see they've got these cards that you can leave in or take out for the sake of difficulty. I always take these out. The game is way too easy with these in. Not only does this not give you those wild cards, but it reduces the amount of time that you have by 2 turns, because once you run out of cards, you lose. So it actually can become a pretty challenging game if you always play it on heroic mode. At least some of the villains are. And then here we have a few specific ones. They upped the number of those in later seasons. But, I still play with the heroes from the first season, even though my understanding is they're a little less powerful. Hey, like I said, the game is not that hard, and that can be like a little modified extra hard mode to have a mix in at least some season 1 onto your teams. And season 1 has some of the best characters. I'm not a fan of mutants, the mutant comics, so I mean they're really bad, honestly. I I could go on at great length about how the mutant comics have gotten really bad, but and that was the majority of season 2. So I do have it, but I did not feel compelled to get very many of the expansions. All right, let's get into the main core box. They're going to have 3 core boxes. No, 4 after this is done, because the newest Spider-Verse, not this one, but there's a Spider-Geddon, I believe it's called. Something with Spider-Geddon. It's in retail. I'm waiting for it to drop in price before I get it. So they'll have the core, as far as core boxes go. Marvel United has seasons 1, 2, and 3 core boxes, which are standalone, and then also the Spider-Geddon, which looks really cool. I was a fan of those comics, so okay. Cardboard is not as thick as your best hobbyist board games, but it's fine. The board is actually pretty decent. I'm actually kind of surprised by how thick the board is. Usually I don't use these. Usually I use pawns, red and blue pawns, and orange. Well, I don't use yellow pawns, but they are nice. They're just, you end up grabbing so many of them at the same time. Like you'll wipe out like 3 or villains, or the 3 thugs, or the villain will turn all of the thugs into people who need to be saved on the opposite side, or vice versa. And there's, you just like sitting there scraping at these little things. I really enjoy the game a lot better with the pawns. You can get ones that actually look like these 3D printed off Etsy, but I just got a non $9 bag of pawns. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So these use red for the thugs, blue for the innocent civilians, um, yellow for threat, green for these, whatever they're called, that go on every location to show whether or not you've unlocked it or not. And this costs $10, and I just use them all the time. I don't keep them with Marvel United because I also use it in, I used it in People Power. I didn't like the thick wooden pawns. I used it in Baseball 2045. Once again, pawns too thick and light. These are so bottom heavy, because I like this type of pawn specifically for this, because you can just grab a bunch of them and set them down, and they tend to stay upright because they're so bottom heavy. I think these are like this Sorry type of pawn, the type of pawn you find in the game Sorry. Okay, let's take this VAC form out. I have said before, I am not a fan of unsecured VAC form at all, and I just always throw it away, but I'm actually going to keep this. And it's not so bad. It's not the thickest, it's not the thinnest. The thicker, the better. It doesn't bother me when it's in the box. The other thing is, I just like to keep all my minis together. I don't want to have to dig out a specific box when I want to play with a character. I don't want to have to remember where everybody is. So we've got the locations, a little stack of locations. See, they're on cardstock. You can buy in the campaigns. You can always get for that season the locations not on cardstock but on cardboard. The problem is there's so many locations that it's just too much. I don't. The locations they add a little bit, but because they have different abilities once you defeat whatever the threat card is that's on there, and get rid of this. And so that's good. That adds a little extra variety, especially if you play with the ones that have negative effects, which I often don't because it annoys me. um, but the fact that then, because there's so many of them, in order to make it like like the game, keep it reasonably sized. I feel like I need to stick with the card stock. I guess it saves me money because I don't buy the cardboard kind, so that's good. Got the villain like dashboards. Now this is something that this right here kind of holds everything. It's the villain dashboard. This is something that I would get by itself as a nice thick cardboard. But I think the only way to get it is to get all of these as cardboard, and I don't think that's necessary, and once again would take up a massive amount of space. So you've got the backs of these, and you see these don't have any special rules on them. That's how simple they are. They don't have any extra setup rules. Those usually are on the back of the villain cards, if I remember correctly. But these are fun to play with, kids or people who don't typically game a lot. This is a great, I think this one of the best intro level games. I mean, it's the best for probably for anybody who likes superheroes. If you've got a little kid who loves superheroes or an adult, I still read lots of comics, so I guess I shouldn't say that. Let's take a look at the minis. Super cute little chibi heroes. I love that the Wasp has like that. So the Wasp and Ant-Man have items on their base that show how small they are. This is a die. Black Widow. I'm not going to take all these out because then I have to put them back. And that means I have to match their shape to the vac form, which is the reason that I throw away the vac form, because I hate doing that. This is one of my absolute favorites. It shows you there are some definitely dynamic poses in season 1, and it's like his little skull mask is just so freaking cute. And I was not paying close attention to where I took these out of. I think she came from here. Okay, I think that's right. We've got all their hero cards. Might as well, no reason to open this yet. I'm not ready to, well, sure. This is an unboxing video. So some people say that Marvel United is a baby game for babies, but first of all, there's lots of unbalanced material in here. Like if you fight Vulture on heroic mode without choosing the absolute optimal heroes, I mean, I faced him a lot. I faced him quite a few times before I beat him. I like to play a lot kind of by my knowledge of the characters rather than I don't use anything that will tell you how many movement and how many fighting. So I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage there, but if you're not trying to super optimize all the time, I think that this game on heroic mode can produce a good challenge on at least some of the villains. Some of them are cakewalks. Most of the ones in this box are cakewalks. But it's just a great crisis management. Honestly, I feel like it's like Pandemic, but with the maps broken out into modular boards, and it's a lot of fun. Theme obviously helps. The fact that I have read comic books for 35 years at this point. I'm not going to say that that doesn't help. These are the cards that have the challenges that you have to do in order to be able to actually attack the villain. Clear 1, and he speeds up to acting. So you act 3 times, and then the villain acts once. Whether or not you're playing 1, 2, 3, or 4 heroes, you get 3 heroic turns and then a villain turn until you clear one of these. So then he speeds up and starts moving. The villain speeds up and starts moving acting between every 2 of your turns. So you're trying to balance clearing 2 of these as close together as possible because after the second one, then you can start hurting him. But you also need to take care of overflow, because if any location gets too many either innocent civilians or thugs on it, and you can't place one when necessary, then that they overflow and they cause a negative effect. So it's a fun balance of crisis management. I don't care what anybody says; it's not a dumb game for babies. Some villains have like minions, and some have just little kind of challenges on these threat cards. Like here's uh, Red Skull has quite a few minions. Oh man, I love Bob, Agent of Hydra. Little cube for tracking the progress of the villain on their board. Not all of them use that, some do. Okay, well that is it for the core box. So let's. Oh God! Oh, the back form plastic is a nightmare. It's just a freaking nightmare. Sorry, I really, it really like grates on me, and I don't understand how it's what we get as board gamers as like a premium option. Oh jeez, jeez, oh Pete's. There we go. And we gotta do this again. It's like if you were to buy a $2 pack of generic cookies, you would find back form plastic like of the same quality. And we pay all this extra money for it. I am a real dodo bird here. For some reason, I thought that some of these went on top, and they absolutely do not. Okay, please say third time's a charm. I don't have enough oxygen going to my brain from talking so much. I apologize. That counts for in case I say anything dumb as well. That counts in case I say anything not particularly smart as well. Okay, so here we go. Enter the Spider-Verse. Packed full of Spider-Mens and air. These, I tell you what, come on, gives you so much air to freight in from China. Sure, you remember that the big freight shock came with uh, Marvel Zombicide, Marvel Zombies Zombicide, when it was double what everybody thought it was. It sent real ripples through the industry. And I wish that it meant that they were freighting less air, but I don't know that that's the case, because I think that Marvel United Series 3 is going to have. We'll find out. I think they're boxes. But then again, they're kind of locked into this box size now to a degree. I mean, making excuses. Oh, yeah. Look at all the air. Just. Okay, so there's like like you're a reporter, and that's what these tokens are for. You're Peter Parker reporter. I don't know what that one's for. Maybe it's for one of these hip kids. It's their Miles or Spider Gwenum. Okay, got the one villain dash. Got the Spider-Man New York locations. I mean, so much of Marvel takes place in New York. The Fantastic Four also just has a bunch of New York locations, you know. It's one thing with DC is they use fictional cities, so they have any number of fictional metropoli that are the size of New York. You've got Gotham, you've got Metropolis, you've got, what's it, Key City? Is that? I don't know. Flash has his own city. Captain Marvel and the Marvel family have their own. Here we have the regular Spider-Man. His head's a little bit smaller. Here we have Miles Morales Spider-Man. He's got like a little weird baby head. Cool arm pose. I like that. Gwenom, Spider-Woman of her universe, does not usually have her real name in her alter ego name, which would defeat the purpose. And the Green Goblin, bringing that gobbo heat. He's a baddie. Okay. Once again, pretty sure I didn't pay close enough attention to where everybody went. So we're just gonna do some trial and error here. No, he goes there. Okay, there we go. The cards. You know, I used to feel like I needed to sleeve the cards. Usually I'll sleeve cards if they need to be shuffled more than once a game. And I used to play shield mode, so you'd be doing a lot of shuffling the different decks together. But since I started just playing three-handed, I unsleeved everything, and luckily that was before I had any Kickstarters come in, or that would have been absolutely miserable. So many cards. Some guys that you actually have figures for. No. Spidey, Ghost Spider, aka Spider-Gwen. I guess that's not Gwenom. I don't know. I'm not as well versed on those, on the multiverse. All right, well, that is it. And I think that you will agree with me that that is a lot of value for $9. I would pay even more than that, even though I'm a cheapskate. But I would not pay a lot more than that to get a second batch. So the fact that I caught it on sale for $9 makes me really happy. Well, we're going to call it there before I scrape this Vacform plastic in here like nails on a chalkboard. I hope that the few of you who watched this enjoyed it, and that you have a great rest of your day, and keep gaming solo. Oh, maybe I'll put this in. Maybe I'll hold it real close to my microphone. No, I don't think Vacform plastic bothers other people as much as me. It's one of those sensory issues.